there is some breaking news that's happening. I want to get into that because I want you guys' thoughts. The San Diego Loyal, who are in the USL Championship, are going to cease operations, as I mentioned before, following this season. Apparently, after a viable near and long-term stadium solution in the market did not materialize, the franchise rights will be transferred, the league said. So whoever had those transfer rights, they're going to go somewhere else, and they're going to try to prop it up in a city. Now, this is kind of a different way of saying, well, MLS came into this market with different owners. They got the stadium solution that they needed. There was no room for USL. That's another way to look at this. And we've seen this already happen in St. Louis, and we saw it happen in Cincinnati, I think, as well, that when an MLS franchise got named, the USL team ceased to exist. And in St. Louis in particular, there's a 2-year gap between when the USL team ended, when MLS started. Now everything seems crazy, or gravy, I should say, because MLS that the St. Louis City team has been excellent and the support's been awesome. But it is really sad because when I think about San Diego Loyal, I believe that they've done everything right. They've built an incredibly loyal fan base, pardon the pun there. And I don't see, the only thing that they didn't have was to take that 6,000 seat stadium that they're in and go find another one that has 10, 15,000 seats and start to expand and evolve in a normal, natural way. And they proved themselves in the market, and now they're out. They're getting squeezed.
Heath doesn't feel that way.
All right, Heath, get into it then. What are you saying?
I just think it's a lot more complicated than that in terms of Landon Donovan and a group put together an MLS bid that was contingent on that Soccer City in San Diego or whatever it was called. So I think the viability becomes – I don't think the Loyal were sustainable as a USL team without having – the viable economics behind that, because you're not part of you're a team. You're not a franchise model in the same way that MLS is connected to the league itself. And so I do think that's a byproduct of that, but it is also a result of not having a long-term solution for your own fan base that it starts to cannibalize and those types of things. I think those two things are inseparable, but take MLS out of that, it was still going to be on San Diego Loyal to find some of these strategic pillars that would give them a foundation for long-term success in the US's, second division.
I mean, how come they didn't find it before? Was it just being comfortable? And then, because it seems like they've been, well, what you hear now, and obviously this is in hindsight, that they've been working hard to try to find something. But at that point, MLS feels like they've already gotten in with different owners that had already
similarly, this was
captured Snapdragon Stadium where San Diego State plays and so on.
I mean, New York Cosmos were trying to do the same thing for a long time in New York, right? Before the NYCFC came in with a bid. And obviously for cities, there's a lot of lobbying and politics that go into making a stadium deal happen or making a deal happen that brings some sort of benefit to the city. And when you think about San Diego and all of its suburbs and trying to solve all of that, I think it's a huge challenge that people just think it's like a matter of coming into a city being like, I'm going to give you a couple $100 million and I'm going to build a stadium there. And I'm going to buy that land. There's so much more that goes into it. Of course. That it's a huge challenge. And I don't think it's for a lack of effort for San Diego, but the timing of it and probably the inability to execute within that timing and somebody else coming in over the top and establishing their brand and their name with those solutions is probably, if you're the financier or whoever's backing that, makes it a really difficult project to see, the light at the end of the tunnel. So again, I don't know enough about it, but
you're looking at this very unemotionally, and I respect that.
No, I think it's horrible.
Do you feel bad for San Diego? Okay, I just want to make sure.
I mean, yeah, I feel really bad for that fan base. They've worked really hard. I know a lot of people that work there and are part of that and loved being part of building it. That's a community-based team that's done a lot of work within the community and a lot of good in the community, creating more opportunities. It's not just about the product on the field; it's the product off the field, right? And building relationships and building a destination for fans and again, building a love for the sport within these communities. It goes so far beyond just putting your 11 on the field and putting an entertaining product out. So it does suck and for those fans, and it's really unfortunate. I mean, I'm looking forward to reading more. It didn't seem like I couldn't find a lot of information about it right now of what it all means, but clearly that's a lot of squeeze coming from a new team in the market for sure.
Yeah, we'll get into it as more information gets out there, more details emerge. But sad news I mean, because there's so many people in these different markets that are outside of MLS that are working so hard to grow the game in their respective communities. And now that MLS is coming there, you'd like to think that everybody's going to work together and it's going to be harmonious, but it doesn't always work out that way. Business is business at the end of the day. But again, we'll get into it more. Maybe we'll get somebody from the San Diego Loyal, maybe even Landon Donovan, to come on and talk to us, give us some more insights about what it means from their perspective as they live it on the ground.